So, YouTube and Magic is still alive with people talking about how Commander Masters is an absolute dumpster fire. The actual reality of the matter as to how much of it is sold and how much local game stores are stuck with it, I'm not really sure. A lot of the typical, like, I guess, rage-baiting sort of twats on YouTube are saying the same shit. Like, every single video is like, Wizards have done bad, Wizards evil, Wizards killing the game is dead, Wizards bad, Wizards evil. It's kind of tiring to see. I keep telling YouTube not to recommend that shit to me, but because I've clicked out of morbid curiosity, that's now in my feeds. But I have also heard anecdotally from people on my Discord, people on Twitter and similar, that some stores are struggling to sell the packs, especially set boosters, which are at an astronomically high price to being sold to stores via distributors. This means that the stores are selling them at stupid prices. This tweet from yesterday where I retweeted this, these price tags are insane for draft and set boosters. And the reason they're not going any lower than that is because stores are buying them at a high price from distributors, so they are stuck holding the bag, as it were. If this product does not sell, it does leave you with a lot of inventory you can't get rid of. And that led me more and more to think about premium priced product. Why does it exist, and why and how is it affecting the game long term? In today's video, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Mark Rosewater's recent and previous comments about premium product and how it's necessary, how you can't have expensive and cheap product, right? In theory, he says. I want to unpack that and argue against it. If you are looking to pick up single or sealed product, whether it be Commander Masters or pre-ordering Wilds of Eldraine, use the link in the description below or the code KENOBI at checkout to get 5% off your order to help support the show. Back in 2020, a user called Dragon's Law Blog asked Mark Rosewater this on Blogatalk. Hey Mark, I know you probably won't add to this, but I really wanted you to pass this along if possible. Double Masters, whilst being a cool set, I'm assuming it's priced out of my range. And I'm going to talk about Double Masters and Commander Masters here, the two highlightable, obvious examples of what we're talking about. The premium price sets that have done damage to stores and things around them. People keep telling me that Commander Masters isn't that much more expensive than Double Masters. Well, it is more expensive, as we can see from the fucking shelf prices. But anyway, back to the blog post. I'll come back to Double Masters and Commander Masters in a moment. Whilst you don't control pricing, I just wanted to let you know that $300 per box before gouging is going to really spoil a lot of the community's goodwill towards your company. And the company line is this not for you, but Mr. Rosewater, it's a bridge too far for this 15-year invested player. And that's a really reasonable comment, and it really does already preempt the this product's not for you line, the corporate line that we keep getting fed. We get fed that by Wizards, and then we get the people who want to suck on the arsehole of Wizards tell us that they're a business and therefore they're not our friend. And these two things together work as a shield against criticism, or a shield against the direction with which Magic is going in terms of pricing, for some people anyway. I think it's a shit shield, and both of those things are dishonest or intellectually bankrupt as defensive. Mark goes on to say that he wants to have an honest discussion with us. He says as part of a business, they need to recognize all the various audiences and create products to serve them. One of our audiences is invested in playing with a higher priced threshold. That is, there are players who are willing to spend a lot of money for highly desired cards. Note, we take great care to make sure those products are something the group is happy to buy. The problem is those desirable cards are also desired by players who that product is not aimed for. Desirable cards are desirable cards. So when we make these products, that group gets upset because the prices seem so high. It feels like an insult. We made something they like, but we priced them out of being able to purchase it. I get that ill will, but also feel like not making products for that audience is unfair to both that audience and us. So I'm turning to all of you that feel upset. How can we make these products in a way that allows audiences to get what they want without all of you feeling like we're doing harm to you? That was in May 26th of 2020. Now, the obvious retort to that is don't price those products at twice the price or 3 times or 4 times the price of existing product. It's a really obvious criticism to level, right? The stuff is too fucking expensive, and you have for 25 plus years not had to do this and still sold us stuff. Mark also said in his blog recently that more powerful cards will come in more expensive packs. Yeah, that's right. He basically said that it makes sense that things should be power crept and therefore more expensive, and thus we begin the pay to win angle that people have always argued Magic had. I always said it was pay to compete, but at this point when the company is buying into the idea that more powerful, more desirable cards need to be more expensive, we end up on the pay to win. We just are pay to win at that point. We're not on a slope, we just are. Can you imagine a situation where Call of Duty, your guns are only better if you bought the loot boxes that cost more money than the other players? Imagine a situation in poker where you could buy better cards than your opponent. I mean, Magic's always had that, but there's this idea that you can open them from packs. You can get lucky in opening those game pieces. There's an argument that you can just borrow them, and you can lend them, and you can rent them, and you can proxy them in some environments, of course. But the idea that Wizards wants to sell those things to you for more money, instead of it being that you buy a booster and get a randomized chance to get the cards are desirable or not desirable, you're literally buying into the randomized chance of a booster product. Instead, Wizards now want to increase the prices alongside what things are desirable, what they cost in the secondary market. A secondary market they pretend not to acknowledge. I think that is complete bollocks. I don't begrudge the secondary market existing. I actually quite like that there's an entire ecosystem surrounding the game that has kept the game interesting for many people. Buying, selling, trading, getting cards that go up in value as they don't get a reprint. It's kind of part and parcel of a collectible card game. I obviously demand that they reprint certain staples to make them affordable, but I think that premium, expensive, collectible versions being available for people to open, crack, and sell is better. I think the cost and the expensive cards should be in their collectability, not in their playability. Yes, the secondary market exists, and yes, Wizards of the Coast are aware of it, and they use it to gauge what needs to be reprinted and what doesn't. Cards that are expensive should have reprints so people can get hold of them. The desirability, not their cost, is what they talk about. But the fact that they're now starting to price their products around that desirability means that they're not only benefiting from there being a secondary market behind Magic, but they're directly benefiting by pricing things according to said secondary market, which I think is quite dangerous if they want to keep pretending that these things aren't gambling products. Imagine a world where things that become collectible, trainers, for example, or video games that become retro. What if Nintendo are like, actually, Pokemon might be worth £100 per cartridge in the next couple of years, so we're going to charge you £100 per cartridge, as opposed to the £60 or whatever it is now. Do you see what I mean? I don't think that companies should be able to just willy-nilly increase their prices to fit with whatever secondary market demand comes out of the fact that the items are collectible further down the line. That's absurd. Wizards have functioned alongside the secondary market for so long, but now they want to have their cake and eat it, and I think that's a joke. And thus we come back to that point of packs need to be more expensive if the cards are more powerful, as Rosewater said back in May. No, because some cards are desirable not because of their power level. Come on, you know this. This Secret Lair is a fucking Lord of the Pit, and this one's a Shivering Dragon. Both of these are desirable because they're collectible. There's finite numbers of them. The one-of-one ring that Pokemon just bought for $2 million has the same text and works the same as a $30 one ring, just that it's a one-of-one collectible. That's how Magic should aim to make its money. And I think for large... There's the element they are doing that. Collectible alternate arts, the idea of serialized cards, all of those things lean into that, and I think that's good. Unfortunately, that's all come accompanied with boosting the cost of premium packs to absurd heights.
I'm going to read this question because it's become copy pasta, and I don't want people to feel like I'm ignoring them, but then I'll answer it. What makes this a premium deck? Well, I'll answer it with a question because it's confusing me a little bit. What makes this a premium deck? Why isn't there more love for the mana bases in these precons? This isn't a question about cost. This is a question about justification of calling something premium without premium contents. Can someone in chat flag to me where we call this premium? We might have. I just honestly don't know about that tag.
And then Little Orlock said on Blogatol, they asked the question, why is power level for a set inherently tied to the price per pack when it theoretically costs the same to print? Very good question. Mark replies saying this: it's not about what it costs to print. The issue is this. Let's say we have 4 products that sell for the exact same price. It's important for us and all our business partners that players equally want to buy all 4 booster packs. A bit of commentary there. All our business partners, that includes the LGS that have to sell this shit. Well, if you cared that much, you probably wouldn't be selling them an overpriced product that they can only make a small margin on, okay? If you're going to pretend you care about all your partners, put more effort into making sure LGS aren't lumped with product they can't sell. If everyone wants to buy booster number 1 and no one wants to buy booster number 2 through 4, that causes all sorts of problems. Note that different players will be drawn to different products, but we need each product to have its fans. This means that we have to take into account numerous factors to make sure that booster packs are equally desirable. One of the biggest factors is the overall average power level of the cards, relevant to the formats they're played in the booster. That's the issue. What I think he is saying is that some packs have to be more powerful than others, and thus need to charge more money for them, so you're willing to buy discount ones because there's the cheaper option if you can't afford this one. The powerful cards are for the whales, the cheap budget shit is for your average player. Now, I think weirdly, Rosewater has touched upon one of the biggest issues facing Magic the Gathering going forward, is that premium products are absolutely fucking the game. They are fucking the game on pricing and pricing people out. They're fucking the goodwill of the average player, and they're actually fucking over your average standard set too. Let me unpack that a little. Let's start with the fucking over the average set. He says that there needs to be a price difference so that one set has basically a unique selling point, that it's cheap. And with Wilds of Eldraine, we will have a special slot where you can open a doubling season, for example, so the packs aren't completely boring. But at the point you have premium packs with all the good shit, like you do with the reprint equity heavy Masters sets, where you're putting all your good reprints, and then you have your standard set, which might have like 5 chaseable cards, you are killing the desire to open this as well, regardless of it being cheaper than the other one. There is this element where companies will destroy their product instead of giving it away or lowering its cost, and we saw this with a load of stuff being found in a landfill earlier this year or late last year from Wizards too. But what it does is it devalues the brand if things become discounted, essentially. You want your brand to remain premium in the sense of it being a desirable product to your customer, a collectible product to your customer. At the point you have a discount, cheaper version of something else, you are making that proposition look cheap. And this happens across Magic. When they do Commander products that are $100 and they're full of incredible reprints and interesting cards, like with the Secret Lair ones, and they do $100 precons with terrible mana bases but loads of powerful unique cards, like with the Masters ones, then you do $50 fucking Universes Beyond ones with completely unique art across every card and 40 new designs, and then you do your $40 or $30 normal precons that pale in comparison to the rest. You end up with a situation where some things just seem remarkably more worth than the others. And it happens the other way around too. When you do a $20 precon like we had with like Zendikar Rising and Kaldheim, I want to say, that precon being at $20 just shines a light on the other stuff when it's almost as good, saying, why can't the other stuff be that price? And then when you start to think about the manufacturing cost, well, you get into the situation where things seem ludicrous. You've got a terrible feedback loop here, where normal draft boosters seem boring compared to set and collector, and they seem remarkably pedestrian and boring compared to your Masters products, which are too expensive. And vice versa, when you know you can print a $3.50 or $4 or $4.50 booster, and that can make money, then it makes your $50 boosters seem incredibly fucking greedy. This wide-ranging cost of products is not giving people different entry points, it's making people question their relationship with the game, whether they should keep buying. And then when you strap on top of that other issues that are like separate to this in a different aisle, the idea that standard is boring as shit and there's no fucking reason to play it because you guys won't incentivize it. Kibler just did a really good fucking thread on this, talking about how both of the recent big ticket events at MagicCons, the big entry things, are limited. So when people failed and didn't succeed in the Pro Tour, they couldn't drop out and play a high-stakes standard tournament, they could play limited. Even Wizards don't care about giving you a high-stakes standard option. And then if you do want to play standard for some reason, and Arena is there, why even buy real cards in the first place? You're trying to monetize the whales and the collectors, but in reality you're doing that in a casual format where no one gives a shit about having real cards to compete anyway. You are burning the field and you're damaging goodwill, and people will start proxying. So again, we go back to that issue of like Mark saying there needs to be different types of product for different players. But your premium ones cause all sorts of issues. They cast a long fucking shadow. The other one is just the hype factor of them. May I draw your attention back to Double Masters, which launched approximately a month after Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate was absolutely panned at release, but I believe it's one of the greatest sets we've ever seen. This set is full of so many incredible cards, interesting designs. There's some design work in here where they fixed the partner mechanic by creating backgrounds, which allows you to essentially customize your favorite commander from the set that had background, which then like leans into the customizable D&D element of the theme, whilst also correcting a overpowered mechanic from the past and creating a really interesting play environment. I cannot stress enough, and I will probably make a couple of videos next week about this, because Baldur's Gate 3 just came out and I'm super into that. Battle of Baldur's Gate was phenomenal. However, it was marketed fucking terribly, which seems to be a running problem with Wizards. First of all, they called it Commander Legends, so it already was living in the shadow of another Commander product that came with like Jeska's Wills and Jeweled Lotuses. People were expecting that kind of power level, and the price point was a little bit lower, if I recall, but it's still slightly premium, bigger packs and all that. But people were expecting Commander Legends. Meanwhile, you started to show off Double Masters. It's truly premium, ridiculously expensive set, but it had all the best reprints in it. Stuff that people would have liked to see in Battle for Baldur's Gate. What this led to, especially with the crossover of preview windows, previews for Double Masters here, full Commander previews, Commander here, it releases Battle for Baldur's Gate, and then you got Double Masters just around the corner, and people know it's just around the corner and have already seen some cards from it. People are going to wait. People waited. People bought Let's Commander Legends Battle of Baldur's Gate because they thought it wasn't a good value proposition, and they spent their money on Double Masters. Although they got less bang for their buck because Double Masters was priced at a stupid price point. Do you see what I'm getting at? That you basically sabotaged one of your best things you'd produced in the last 2 or 3 years. Something that required complete from the ground up design of the draft environment and the cards themselves and new art assets. Arguably, I say arguably, I'm almost certain that the resources that it took in terms of like commissioning new art and design teams working on Commander Legends 2 Battle for Baldur's Gate was much more expensive than what Double Masters or Commander Masters was. But somehow you fucked it. You went, yeah, whatever. Here's a thing coming out. You all know about it. Let's just fucking focus the community on that. And people slated, hated, and did not buy into Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. Again, it's all anecdotal, but I hear of local game stores saying that they couldn't get rid of the product. The product still sits on shelves now. There's still bundles in my local game store downtown. And I think it's one of the greatest sets ever made. There's a weirdness where I think as people wake up to how good the cards are in Commander, Descent into Avernus, All of the Dragons, numerous Commanders, there's so many good cards in those sets. I think people might then want to crack the packs or buy the singles. Weirdly, I think this set will have a resurgence in the long run. But it was sabotaged, both from the shadow cast from the previous Commander Legends, and then the over fucking looming shadow of Double Masters just around the corner, which meant it was just sat in a situation where it just got absolutely fucking murdered. And that's sad. That's sad for the development teams, the design teams that designed that set, because I think they did an incredible job. Do you see what I mean? The premium sets are not only damaging goodwill with the customer, stretching our wallets and making us feel like the game is only for whales now, but it's also leaving game stores not only with the overly expensive product they can't get rid of because the value proposition isn't there, but also then like strangling the other sets around it from selling too. So what is the answer? If you've got to make 4 booster products to make them all desirable, what is the answer? Well, you don't dump all of your reprints into one set and charge the fucking moon. You spread them across all 4 sets and charge a reasonable price for all of them. I mean it. I really mean this. Some reprints can't show up in some sets. I absolutely get it. You might not want to put, I don't know, Smothering Tide and Doubling Season or whatever into standard. Those cards are actually pretty good to go into standard because I don't see a huge amount of play in 60 card formats. So they're actually good reprints. It's a bad example. Maybe Mana Drain is a better example. You want to reprint Mana Drain somewhere, but you don't want to put it into standard. Or you're doing straight to modern sets a lot. You're doing Commander sets too. Spread the love between the sets. Make all sets desirable and exciting. Make all booster products exciting. The problem is not that you have to make one set too expensive to push the poor people and the paupers into buying standard legal sets. That's not the solution. I think you know there's a problem. You've identified a problem. I think the solution you're giving is not correct, of having super duper expensive set that people really want but can't afford, and then the other set that people will buy into because the new thing. You can spread the love without doing the problems that premium sets bring. Master sets, I've always enjoyed playing them in the limited environment. I really have. Modern Masters 1 is one of my favourite draft environments of all time, and Modern Masters 3 is close. Eternal Masters as well. I didn't even draft Commander Masters because the price was so stupid and I can't be fucked. Like, it's dumb. The drafts aren't firing in my local store. They couldn't get more than 4 people to agree to one. So there was effort taken by a team to create a draft environment using reprints, and it's hardly going to get touched. It's going to be forgotten. Like, the number of players actually engaging with that game mode that some designers took some time to make is going to be so low, it's kind of insulting. Premium priced, super duper, all the reprints in one play sets are the problem. The solution is not to make them incredibly expensive. The solution is to bring the price down and pull some of those reprints out to other sets as well. That's the solution. Really simple when I say it like that, right? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Am I missing something? Is it not that fucking obvious or easy? Please let me know. I've been Vince, sponsored of the internet. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that link to Cool Stuff Inc. down below to help support the channel, or maybe my Patreon link, that's down there too. And I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.